Henry Duncan Grants 2026 Mental Health in Very Remote Rural Scotland. Since 2020, Cora has invested just over £4.6 million through the Henry Duncan Grants programme and supported 178 organisations. We have focused on a thematic area for each funding round over the last 5 years, which have included the impact of poverty on families, mental health and well-being, children and young people facing challenges, deaf, disabled people and/or people living with long-term conditions, women and girls, and now in 2026, mental health in very remote rural areas. One of the real strengths of Henry Duncan Grants is that we offer unrestricted funding, meaning that organisations have the flexibility to use this funding however best suits their needs. The multi-year funding is also a huge benefit to organisations by providing some stability in their funding streams. Since 2020, Cora has also had a designated funding pot for Henry Duncan Grants, which has supported organisations led by and for Black and racially minoritised people in communities, which aligns with the wider racial equity work which Cora is doing as part of our 10-year strategy. This has now developed into a fund in its own right, the Cora Racial Equity Fund, and is running on an annual basis, having launched last year. This year's theme for Henry Duncan Grants is mental health in very remote rural areas. Organisations can apply for up to £50,000 over 5 years with a maximum of £10,000 in each funding year. Organisations can apply for higher or lower amounts in each year if this suits their needs. As the funding is unrestricted, organisations can also use this to fund existing work, to develop new work or an idea, to cover ongoing core costs, or even towards their reserves. We have £500,000 of funding available for this funding round, and we anticipate to fund up to 10 organisations. This is a two-stage application process, with the first stage largely focusing on eligibility and fit with the criteria, and the second stage focusing more on the specific work that is being delivered. There are two specific areas which I'd like to highlight in order to be a fit for this funding. The first one is around people with mental ill health and understanding what we mean by this. We know that there is different language used across the sector when it comes to mental health, and we also appreciate some of the fantastic community services that are available to support people. For clarity and to help articulate what we are prioritising and focusing on with this funding, we have taken the definition of mental illness as outlined by SAMH, which is mental health problems that are long-lasting, have a more significant effect on our daily lives, and often require clinical and/or medical intervention. This usually includes a formal diagnosis, but may not always be the case. As I've mentioned already, we know that there are some brilliant organisations who are delivering really key mental wellbeing support, such as lunch clubs, walking groups and hobby groups, which help to tackle loneliness and isolation in the wider community. However, these types of activities are unlikely to progress to stage 2 of the fund. This is because we are looking to focus on organisations whose main work specialises in supporting people already experiencing mental ill health as per the definition, or who are in a mental health crisis. The second key area to understand is what we mean by very remote rural. We understand that organisations may have their main office in a more urban area. However, in order to be eligible for this funding, you need to be operating in a very remote rural area or areas of Scotland, and you will be asked to tell us what percentage of your work is delivered here. The definition of this can be taken from the Scottish Government's Urban-Rural Classification from 2020 and is classed as areas with a population of less than 3,000 people and with a drive time of over 60 minutes to a settlement of 10,000 people or more. You'll see from this map that it's basically the areas in the darkest shade of green, and these are the ones that will be targeted with this funding. More information about this can be found within our programme criteria document on our website. So now to understand if you are eligible to apply to Henry Duncan Grants. For this round, you must be a charity registered on OSCAR or a community interest company, social enterprise, or other registered not-for-profit entity registered on Companies House. Your Companies House information must show that you are not-for-profit, have a clear dissolution clause, that assets are distributed to an organisation with similar charitable aims in the instance of closure, and that you have at least 3 unrelated directors, none of which have more than 50% control or voting rights. You must have an annual income in each of the last 3 years of no more than £500,000. And you also must be operating in very remote rural area or areas of Scotland. The majority of your work must be focusing on providing support around mental ill health. We are unlikely to fund organisations that have more than 12 months of unrestricted reserves, or have a significant deficit, or are carrying a sizable sum of money as debt. We cannot accept applications from organisations based outside of Scotland, organisations who are not working in very remote rural areas of Scotland, organisations applying on behalf of another or as a partnership, from individuals or organisations who are delivering mainly statutory work. A full outline of the eligibility criteria can be found in our programme criteria document on our website. As mentioned previously, this is a 2-stage application process. There are a number of documents available which can assist you with the application. We have a guidance to completing the application form document which outlines our expectations for each application question. We also have a Word version of the application form available for you to download, which can be helpful when preparing your form and getting input from members of staff or trustees or directors in your organisation. When you are ready to then complete the full application form, there is first an online eligibility checker form, which you need to complete in order to proceed to the next stage. If you are successful in passing these questions, you will then be taken to our online application form, where you will be able to complete all of the relevant questions before sending this in to our system. When you send this through, you should receive an acknowledgement email. If you do not receive an acknowledgement email from us, please do get in touch with us and we will then be able to investigate why this may be and resolve any issues on the system for you. Whilst we do require the online form to be completed, we do understand that some people may require additional support with this, or there may be some barriers to them completing it. If this is the case for you, we strongly encourage you to get in touch with us by email or by telephone to help us explore the best support for you. We must receive your Stage 1 application by Thursday the 23rd of July at 12 noon to allow us to review this and consider if you will be invited to apply to Stage 2 of the process. CORA staff will review the Stage 1 applications and will invite any of those to progress to Stage 2 in early August. If you have progressed to Stage 2, you will be sent a new online application form link, as well as a Word version of the application form to help you prepare any of your answers. This application will pre-populate with some of the information that was provided in your Stage 1 application form, but it will also ask for more information on the support that you currently provide to people with mental ill health, how the people you support are involved in any development or input to your services, understanding a wee bit more about the very remote rural area that you operate in, and also understand what the particular challenges are that your organisation faces working in these areas. At this stage, we will also review your organisation's most recent financial accounts and ask that these are supplied with your Stage 2 application form. We will look at the income of your organisation over the last 3 years. However, we will only fully review your most recent annual accounts that you send in to us. Applications for Stage 2 need to be sent in by Friday the 4th of September at 12 noon. These will then be assessed and peer reviewed by CORA Grants staff before being sent over to our independent decision-making panellists, who will review these and come together for a panel meeting to make their final funding decisions. All applicants will receive feedback on their applications and funding decisions will be communicated by email week commencing the 19th of October. We do strongly encourage anyone to get in touch with us at henryduncan@cora.scot Should you have any queries about the fund criteria, you're fit with the fund, any issues with our documents or online form, and we will be happy to help you. Thank you.